So continuing on the topic of languages, basically when I was first in Egypt, in Cairo, all of the foreigners were evacuated because of the revolution, and we didn't have any customers coming in or out of the stables. We were on curfew at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just was not allowed to leave the stables for the first month. And no phone, no internet, no communication with the outside world. I mean, really, there's no access to anything. And so I used to just sort of sit in the stables, and the Arabic language, it seemed really intimidating to me at first. It was a lot of and it was very harsh and spit flying everywhere, and the men were like in each other's faces shouting, and it seemed like they were really angry. And of course later, once you learn what they're actually saying, you find out that they're just laughing and telling jokes. But I used to really just sit in the stables and listen to the grooms speaking. They don't speak not a word of English. And so really I would just listen to them, and I would just point at stuff and, ask them, what does that mean? What does this mean? And I would point at a chair, and they would tell me Corsi, and so I would write it down, Corsi, chair, and I would try and remember. And so that's kind of how I started with the language. And I remember for the longest time, there's a lot of sounds in English that we don't have in our language, that they use in Arabic. And so for a long time, for example, I couldn't say the word good morning, sabah al-khair. Sabah al-khair. I couldn't say that for the first couple months that I worked in Egypt. So I would hear it every morning. The little boy, Ahmed, he would see me and he would sabah al-khair, and he was really happy. And I would understand that he's saying good morning, but I was just too shy and I couldn't make that noise. So I would just kind of like put my little face and run. And I don't know when exactly it was, but one morning I just kind of got up and he said sabah al-khair, and I looked at him and I said sabah al-khair, and everything was fine. And after that I could say it. So, I don't really know an exact time frame, but I do know that immersing myself in the culture and eavesdropping on their conversations, when I first started working at the stables, all of the grooms, they're gossiping, these men. They're gossiping like ladies, and they would all stand in a circle and gossip, and I would be kind of outside the circle listening in, and I have no clue what they're saying, but it was interesting for me. And in the end of my stay, suddenly when they wanted to gossip, if they saw me, madam, sitting anywhere near them, they would literally get up and move to go gossip somewhere else, because they knew she understands. And it was really a win for me, a really big victory that, wow, my Arabic is so good now that they're actually worried that I understand when they're gossiping about me. So yeah, that was really quite nice. And I've had a few times, like when I went to Qatar, for example, it's so random to know a bit of Hindi and Arabic. And so when I went to Qatar, and there's lots of Indians and there's Arabic people, obviously, and I could understand both. And so when I was in the shop and I have an Indian man trying to haggle with me in Arabic, and I'm talking to him, and I don't know if I want to do Hindi or Arabic, or, you know what I mean? What are we doing? And a little bit of English, and it was like a really funny thing. But it was a really great feeling, to know what they're saying. I think language is actually a really powerful tool to have, and the more languages that you speak, really the world opens up to you, and it's a pretty good feeling. It's a pretty good feeling.